being included into Valo Fest. So this is pretty exciting. I'm Dan Rotolo, Senior Enterprise Content Management Consultant with Konica Minolta Business Solutions. And I'm joined and here partnering with Mr. Roger Taylor from SkyNets Technologies. Hey, Roger.
Hey, how are you guys? Hey, Dan. Pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to tell a story today, and we're going to tell some things that are resonating across the country from our national practice, anyways, and things that Roger, is experiencing as well around business continuity challenges and what that really means and where the opportunities are with Valo. Roger, why don't you give us a couple seconds about SkyNets Technologies?
Well, SkyNets Technology is a cloud-focused company that primarily focuses in the Office 365 space, in the Microsoft Azure and AWS space. Our primary goal is to be a trusted advisor to our clients. We focus on bringing best practices and mentoring and making sure that we work with the client to make sure that they're actually a part of our decisions in the solutioning.
Perfect. Well, let me give you a little bit of backstory and some information about Konica Minolta. We actually are headquartered in Japan. We have a national SharePoint practice, and we really talk across the country about enterprise content management solutions. And why this is important today is around digital transformation and what that really means in the world. In today's environment. If we think about everything before March of this year, Skype for Business going away, people getting into Microsoft Teams and so on, it really, really changed. And digital transformations and business continuity and so on really came to the forefront for people to be forced to rethink their business processes and the way that their employees communicate and interact with each other. Konica Minolta from our ECM division really provides automated solutions, different ways to reduce redundant tasks, and then ways to promote mobile strategies when it comes to our document management type of solutions. And we do a lot within SharePoint with that as well with our customers. So fast forward to current state. So from early March of this year, we've really seen a game changer. I was on an appointment just earlier this morning, and people were complaining about, oh, we did this and that with a customer in January or late last year. And I said, guys, it doesn't matter. Everything changed from March. We have to start net new conversations and talk about things to reapproach our customers. World leaders across, from government to CEOs are asking all organizations to prepare and strengthen their business continuity plans. And, business continuity is really the planning, prevention, and governance so that within the organization so that we're not all kind of caught off guard with the situation that we're in now. And the neat thing about Valo is, Valo really offers a way of delivering rapid and effective intranet-centric solutions. And this is provided to your remote teams, allowing you to manage your business continuity challenges, and starting processes right from within the platform. So it's really amazing. It's an unprecedented time. What are your opinions, Roger? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, definitely. The environment has changed. I mean, a lot of brick and mortar companies and companies that have been strong stalwarts in terms of, you must come into the office are really starting to dramatically change that thought process. Number one, from a safety perspective, they have to. But number two, also, even Wall Street and then a lot of the big companies in New York City are starting to realize that it's not really cost efficient to have your workers spend hours in traffic to get to work, to do probably on the average, as studies have shown, probably 4 to 6 hours worth of work on a daily basis versus where they've already shown from studies from Harvard that the average remote worker actually works more and is more productive. So it's really a game changer. And that being said, from a remote perspective, we really have to start looking at the interface and the interaction around how the end users are going to be interacting. So Teams is now becoming a strong proponent, and the use of intranets are now becoming a primary communication channel for the organization.
Absolutely, 100%. And digital transformation, if you just Google that today, or business continuity challenges today, you're going to get all kinds of relevant stuff back from articles just literally all over the place. And so it's a really relevant topic of conversation. A lot of the things that I'm seeing from CIOs is really saying, you know what, we have to rethink the way that we do things. We have to look at platform solutions. We have to look at solutions that are remote capable and get rid of some of the point solutions and other redundant solutions that take a lot to manage all of that. So in my world, digital transformation, this really then is propelling the conversations around that topic. And then with Valo, there's really a unique opportunity here because Microsoft Teams now is through the roof, right? We have like 80 million active daily users on Microsoft Teams, right? Active daily users and growing. I mean, that's unprecedented. So from what we're seeing, and I've been partnering with Roger as well on this, but it's really cool. There's a dependency of working within Teams, staying within Teams, using the remote app within Teams, and then reaching out to the people that you work with, reaching into SharePoint and Office 365 to gather the documents and so on that you need to work with and all that kind of stuff. Well, Valo gives us the opportunity of the dashboard of the intranet within Teams. So you don't have to leave Teams, and you could reach into the intranet and get the information that's pertinent to you. And that's a really unique experience. We're calling it the Valo 360 experience, right? So you can have that 360 view of the way that you work and the people that you work with. What do you think, Roger?
Yeah, and just adding to that, Dan, it's not only just around the usability and the interaction around Microsoft Teams. The sweet spot is the fact that Valo's intranet is so user friendly and so mobile first in their planning and design that it caters to both sides of the fence. You have your average business worker that's used to utilizing the SharePoint interface, and then you've got your more millennial type workers that are used to the more chat-based interface. So it caters to both sides, and it really does bring the whole 360 because you now have something that caters to both different sides of your information worker groups.
Right. Yeah. And the other neat thing from my world is, being able to talk to folks and leveraging current investments, right? Because most companies are invested in the Microsoft platform in 365. They have a version of that. And right now, people are using Teams out of necessity in some sense, and some people are just embracing it. I had a customer talk to me just the other day about saying, hey, listen, we're happy as all get out that we started our Valo Intranet project and we moved to Office 365 and we're using Teams and everything like 8 months ago, and where we are now with rolling out the intranet versus if we didn't have that stuff. And we're kind of clamoring on, being reactive instead of proactive. So really, I think the 360 view and the story that we're going to tell you today and show you actually is a way for IT to be proactive instead of reactive. So why does this matter, right? Every single company, enterprise company that we deal with today has the same type of problems, right? So the typical enterprise platform that all companies face kind of looks like this, right? So we've got, let's say, the intranet or the one source go-to, in the middle, with your vendor support and everything else that we may provide as consultants in the center. And we're looking at a platform then that reaches out and touches things that most companies typically deal with, right? CRM systems, different types of cloud storage, office applications, line of business applications, legacy systems, different solution portals, collaboration applications, ERP system. I mean, right? We're all dealing with that on some level. Well, one of the things from a consultative approach and what we talk about with business continuity and so on is really understanding and mapping the current state. What do we have to work with? What do we have to leverage and so on? And having a modernization story there. Talking about managing the processes. So we're reducing the redundant tasks that a lot of companies face. We're providing mobile solutions to kick off workflows and provide e-forms so people could be interacting, having the correct automation around e-signatures and so on. And then once you have a process out there, it changes, right? Because the environment on the outer edge of this wall changes all the time. So we're talking about continuous improvements and process optimization. We kind of deliver analytics and ways of reporting so you could drill down into your KPIs and your standard operating procedures, et cetera. And then, of course, we're providing APIs and connectors to these other areas. So as the company changes, we can change our processes with it. However, we have one platform, one source of the truth that's in the center. And we see that all over the place. Roger?
Yeah, and this is actually one of the key areas of how we approach our solutions and our technology platforms. I mean, we build it around the people, processes, and technology, and really mapping out the process is one of the first primary things that we do, is understanding our customers' current state and really working with them, because a lot of times it's surprising, from small to enterprise organizations that you go in there and they really don't have a general idea of their actual current state. IT in most organizations is extremely siloed. So when we go in there, we try to do a deep dive in every area to bring them a full picture of everything that they have from an IT perspective to help them make better decisions and coming up with the workflow automation, but coming up with the processes for automation also.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you have that modernization discussion, there are typically three pieces of the puzzle that we always start with. Number one, every company, doesn't matter if you have Office 365 or not, they have an intranet, right? And the problem around intranets and the problem around SharePoint sometimes, right, is the needle in the haystack thing, right? We put something in it, I can't find it. So a search strategy is super important. So starting with those two subjects around gaps and challenges for business continuity makes a lot of sense. And starting from the top down makes a lot of sense as well. And then, the three pieces are really around governance and communications, having a centralized mobile-ready platform, people search, having a chat-based workspace, right, that has permissions and securities that you could get the people that you work with, the teamwork, right, and to be able to interact with those people immediately, right? So that's kind of Microsoft Teams. And then we have document search and the way that we approach document management from information architecture, taxonomy, metadata, and so on. And so that there is a thought process around this as well, right? So, Roger, I'll let you take it here a little bit. We've got a couple slides that really talks about Valo, the Valo platform and what it brings to the table, sort of out of the box, if you will, and then also the user experience. And I think that's really the key. Anybody can use 365 out of the box, but when you put some skin on it, it really simplifies the way that someone might use the intranet and can get to their information and so on. What are your thoughts here?
Sure. So let me start off by saying that, we did a lot of soul searching and a lot of research when we started our trek on finding an intranet in a box solution to partner with. And after going through quite a few candidates, the primary reason that we chose Valo is the fact that, number one, they are actually following all of the Microsoft modern best practices, which means that as Microsoft is building the underlying platform and extending it with new features and functionality, Valo is basically lock in step, and there isn't going to be any kind of a disruption due to the fact that Microsoft is bringing improvements to the table. As a matter of fact, Microsoft and Valo are actually working lock in step with a lot of the feature sets that are coming with Valo, because as Microsoft is coming out with the new components, Valo is also making sure that they work on enhancements that is utilizing the new tool set. That being said, just stepping back and looking from it from a tool set and a productive standpoint, it is probably one of the most user-friendly intranets I've ever worked with in terms of being mobile friendly first. They are very thoughtful around that. In terms of the ability of creating content, it is by far one of the easiest ones to work with. Um, Going from a SharePoint standpoint and having to create content usually requires you go directly to that SharePoint site or to directly to that area. Valo's admin component from a content creation standpoint gives you the power to create content literally on the go from your phone to using your desktop. Then couple that with Valo Teamwork, which really brings light touch governance and actually full visibility into your Office 365 groups and bringing work, lifecycle management and bringing the capability of permissions trimmed and providing the end user the ability to view all of the teams and groups that you're a member of. It it's really a full 360 stack. Coupled with the Valo Idea solution, which I don't know if some of the people on here remember the old IBM commercial about ideation. Valo's Idea is actually a very good ideation solution that enables organizations to capture new ideas and filter them based on likes and dislikes and track the analytics around, creating suggestions to actual product or service solutions.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, what we're going to step through right now is that 360 experience, right? So we're going to go from Office 365 to Teams and show you that 360 experience. And as we go through each section, we're going to have a little snippet of demo that kind of walks through that experience as well. And then at the end, we're going to have a brief couple-minute demo of the whole thing, everything you just watched, so you could really see it in action. So, first, a lot of things that, we talk about, especially with the modernization and the three pieces of the puzzle, is around search, right? So we're going to talk about the enterprise search and modern search. We'll go into more detail about that. We're going to see that as the same type of experience with the News Hub and bringing back information that you're interested in. Same thing with the Events Hub within 365. And this is pretty cool, allowing for important alerts and messages that are displayed across the ribbon bar. Roger, do you want to talk about this one a little bit?
Well, this one to me is really interesting and important. Going back to what I was talking about earlier with regards to the ability to create content from the Valo toolbox. That is one of the key things that's really interesting, is that you can create system-wide alerts that essentially can be pushed across your entire intranet. And again, because the Valo Intranet is also extremely mobile friendly, this is also going to be coming across on your phone if you're accessing your intranet by your phone. Key usage of this to me is everything from announcing maintenance to announcing COVID-19 precautions that you need to do as you come into work. So it's a great tool, and it's highly customizable. There's different message types that you can address it with. So, from a communication standpoint, again, this to me is also indicative of having that whole, remote 360 and being able to communicate with your end users.
Absolutely. So we're going to go through kind of a navigation experience here. And Roger, you can kind of walk us through this if you like as well. It's just a short little demonstration of navigation.
Yeah, so again, beautiful part about the Valo Intranet is it is an intranet in a box, but it comes with some really cool features. You've got the mega menu up there, which kind of takes up less real estate, but then provides you with the maximum capability, adding imagery and an extensive amount of links. Then you have the Search Hub, which to me is phenomenal because it's giving you the Microsoft Modern Search. It's built on the Modern Search. One of the key things also that I like to call attention to with the Valo Intranet is literally every component of the Valo Intranet experience is built upon the search engine. So as you can see there, you've got the granularity. You're being able to drill down by your authors, document types, look at last modified. So it's really indicative of what Microsoft is pushing, which is, the modern search experience and being able to search across your entire Office 365 intranet. Here we have the people directory. This, I know as a SharePoint guy, is every organization's request when you walk in. If they don't have one already, there's usually a request of, we need a people finder, we need a people directory, we need to be able to interact with our end users. What's nice about Valos is it's not only that you have a people directory that provides you with all this information, but coupled with the appropriate metadata in the user profiles, you now have the ability to go in there and say, you know what, I would like to look for an architect, or I would like to look for a specialist in Microsoft Excel that I'd like to work with. So if you're a global organization, finding collaborative users within your organization now becomes just a few clicks with your fingertips. And again, because it's built using the modern, it's extremely context sensitive. So the minute you start typing the first 3 characters, you're starting to really get some really meaningful search returns based on that.
All right, well, let's take a look at that actually and see that in action. So we're going to have the kind of a modern search experience here. And the idea is that the modern search in the way that Roger explained it with People Hub, and then we're going to go into Teamwork and Microsoft Teams and really talk about search within that as well. So this is an overview around modern search. This is cool. You see, we're bringing back, the couple names that we have, starting with U.S.A, and we're selecting the one that we want to work with. If you hover your mouse over the person's name and picture there, you can actually go right into Teams and start a chat. So here again, modern search experience, we're typing in MANU, and we're bringing back all of the team sites that you have access to that have manufacturing in it.
And this is actually interesting because this is Microsoft Teams with the Valo Teamwork integrated into it that provides you a cohesive menu for you to look at all your team sites. I know from a Teams user, being a member of 20 to 30 different teams, it's quite easy to lose track of them. This interface to me gives me a nice way to jump in between them and understand what tool sets I have appropriated to each team.
Absolutely, and we're going to go into more detail about this one as well. How about that drop down, Roger, that information bar?
Well, that's exactly what I was talking about. So in terms of the different team sites, depending on whether you're interacting with a Microsoft project team site or a communications or steering community team site, there's various components that could be attached to that team site, varying from OneNote to accessing Jira, or as you see there, Stream or Power BI. That being said, it's nice that with the information panel, you now have the flexibility of not just going directly to the Microsoft Teams or the Microsoft SharePoint that's associated with that team site, but you have the ability to also go directly to the OneNote, the Power BI, or the Stream that's associated with that site. So it gives you the power of interacting a lot cleaner, in my mind, with a lot more tool set, which is what Microsoft is doing. I mean, you're getting a lot more power with the Office 365 stack, but with that power comes the unwildly amount of products and tool set that you have to control.
Absolutely. So everything that we saw up to this point was really focused around Office 365 and the intranet in Office 365. So now let's go into Teams and see what that looks like in Teams. So, again, here we're in Microsoft Teams. We have to the upper left, we've selected My Dashboard. This is really a view right into your intranet, right from within Teams, which is amazing. Again, My Workspaces. We're going right into, the group sites to the left that you see under Teamwork is the groups that you have access to that you're a part of. That's what we searched on in the previous demonstration. Everything around, oh, go ahead. Oh, I thought you had something to say. Sorry. And then Discover groups are other groups and teams that you could search on to be a part of. So it's really intuitive in the way that this offers a chat-based workspace and collaboration. And then, of course, you know, the classic stuff we all love about Teams, chats, discussions, and being able to communicate on the spot with your coworkers. And the thing that I like as well is the way that, you know, calendaring and setting up schedules and so on integrates right with Outlook. And, you know, it's real seamless in the way that it comes to your mobile device and so on. The fact that you could really be in Teams and do the active things that you typically do, you know, in the workplace and everything is all done here. And I know, Roger, you want to talk about this one in the next slide as well. You know, the fact that you have visibility right into SharePoint and Office 365 right from here, scanning and providing information into OneDrive for business and having the visibility for that, going right into the 365 platform. It's pretty amazing. Roger?
Yeah, so and adding to that, I mean, this also is, you know, the collaboration capability of Teams is that you now have the power to be a member of, you know, 20 to 30 different teams. And again, looking at it from a remote management standpoint, and the fact that given the circumstances we're now dealing with COVID-19, a lot of our workforce is working remotely. So with that remote work comes a lot more teams that you're going to be a member of. The one key thing that I know a lot of end users, and myself included, scream about is now I'm a member of 30 team sites, which have at least one general channel. If you are Teams, you know, experts and team specialists, you tend to create more channels. So now you have an exponential growth there of, you know, say if you average of 2 channels across 10, that's 20 different channels that you have to look for conversations, 20 different areas that you have to look for file storage.
Absolutely. Well, what about documents?
So this is again where Valo Teamwork shines. It's, you know, literally one screen to rule them all. Now I have the capability of looking at all of my documents across those 20 team sites. I can look at all of my discussions across those 20 channels. Just by going to here into the Valo Teamwork interface, I can look at documents. Within that document section, it's pulling up all the documents that I have interaction with and I have access, permission trimmed, to work with across all the team sites that I am a member of. The same thing goes with the discussions. It's now pulling up all the communication, the discussions. So now I have 2 different panes that I can keep abreast with all of my projects and not have to jump in between all of the different team sites within the standard Microsoft Teams interface. So this to me is where Valo has provided simple power, but it is so powerful that most people don't realize, you know, the ease that it brings to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and this is cool. So what we're going to show now is really that 360 experience inside Microsoft Teams. So again, we showed you Office 365, and now let's go inside Microsoft Teams and check out that experience. So again, we're clicking the intranet. We're bringing up the intranet from 365 right into Microsoft Teams. People directory as well. So we could search on the people. We could do the document search and go to the search hub so we can have that holistic modern search experience right from within Microsoft Teams. And then of course OneDrive for Business and everything else that we can get to that Roger was talking about as well. And you know, it really is amazing when you're talking about you know, having 20, 30 teams that you're a part of, to have this kind of access and this kind of organization, clean and easy, so people could get right into it. So now what we're going to do is show you the whole 360 experience. And this is going to be pretty cool because, you know, it really encompasses the modern workplace, right? So we're going to see that Valo 360 experience and ways to go from one end to the other. One of the other things we're going to show here in this is the governance of what Teamwork brings to the table. We're going to show provisioning and templating. So you could see IT opportunity for approval and so on when team sites are created, a way for IT to be proactive instead of reactive here. And that's hugely important. We were talking with a customer not too long ago that has 5,000 users on their tenant, and they had opened up Microsoft Teams for the first time. They did not have Valo Teamwork, and IT was noticing that there were 50, that's 50, to 75 different team sites being created a week. So that's a governance issue, guys, right? Because when a team site's set up, a SharePoint site and a group and so on and so forth is set up, and that is definitely a problem. So what we're going to see here is the templating, provisioning that IT has for approvals, and get into the governance as well. But as we're walking through here, Roger, yeah, go ahead and walk us through and comment on this experience.
Yeah, just adding to what you were talking about earlier, Dan, one of the key things I really like about Valo Teamwork also is the fact that there's very few products out there that gives you that full visibility on your Office 365 groups, your modern SharePoint sites, and your Microsoft Teams sites. Just out of the box, SharePoint and Office 365 administration, you would have to go to multiple different areas to actually accomplish that. Looking from the governance and how it has simplified the provisioning process, it's basically taken the bite out of the whole provisioning, because you can actually create some really extensive workflows and include authorization from management, include authorization in, like, for instance, chargebacks. So, as we're seeing here, the cool part about the whole Valo stack is, we're able to integrate the people directory from the Valo Intranet right into Microsoft Teams, the Search Hub. So this again goes back to the seamless 360 interaction that we're talking about. If you are a SharePoint intranet user, you can go to the SharePoint intranet and still have that same feel. But if you are collaborative, teamwork type person, and you prefer that kind of a Slack-like experience, which Microsoft Teams brings to the table, the Valo intranet and the Teamwork stack brings everything to your fingertips. You have the ability to look at all the teams that you're a member of here. As you can see here, you've got that documents tab that gives you that one view to rule them all in terms of the documents from all of those team sites that you're a member of. Same thing goes for your discussion. You've got the modern search, which is extremely context sensitive, that enables you to drill down and simplify. You're looking for specific team sites. Valo also gives you the capability to archive sites, and as you can see there, it actually changes the color slightly on the card for each of the sites that have actually been archived. Another powerful feature is the provisioning. With the Teamwork, you not only have the capability of provisioning Microsoft Teams, but also modern SharePoint sites and classic SharePoint sites along, with also the extensive capability of extending the metadata structure here, as you can see, because one of the key things, moving to the cloud with both Microsoft and AWS that we've worked with as partners with both, is metadata is key in driving everything in the cloud, from security to compliance to automation. Everything revolves around making sure you have things properly tagged. Okay, so, and here you can see you have an extensive level of metadata tags that you can add. You can add project managers, start dates on your projects. You can, really become extensive depending on how your organization works. And then as you go into the team sites here, this is, really looking at the provisioning aspect of it. When the average user requests a site from the Teamwork user perspective, the admin who has access to the Teamwork Admin Center has the ability to come in here and approve, reject, and, if they reject, they can provide some notes and so forth. This is also where we can extend, as partners, we can extend this feature set with Power Automate and create extensive workflows that might require the business unit to also approve the creation, as well as IT to approve the creation. Being able to integrate the Valo experience here, we've got the Valo Ideas I was talking about, which is a really cool product in encouraging your teams to generate ideas and interact with likes and dislikes, and being able to tabulate all of that information drives the innovation within your organization. Again, all from within the Microsoft Teams stack. So it's a really nice scenario where you never really have to leave Microsoft Teams. And even if you do, going to the Valo Intranet aspect, you're still getting a mobile first, very fluid, intuitive experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in summary here, we're in an unprecedented times. I mean, who would have thought, right, in 2020 that we would be in these times that we are? And it's not just affecting one state, one country, it's all over the place. We all have to deal with it. We have to deal with the liability issues of returning back to work. We have to deal, with downtime with employees and making them more efficient. And we have to deal with the idea of being proactive instead of reactive, and really providing an enterprise solution oriented platform. And I think that's what we have here. And there's a unique opportunity with the way Teams is taking off to be able to provide that 360 view from an intranet platform to the way you work with Teams, staying in Teams and just grabbing the information that you need. And that's really what the Valo 360 experience is all about. So definitely want to thank you for joining us today and going through our thought process and our discussion.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions, comments for Dan and Roger? I know this is organized by a company which is from Finland, but I would expect that the participants are local, so a bit more questions. I have a question actually. Now that you've been working with Valo, it would be interesting to hear, how do you compare Valo to out of the box SharePoint, and how do you compare then possibly to other similar competitors?
All right, I'll take a first shot at that, Dan. So personal experience, we like I said, we did an extensive research before we became a Valo partner. We looked at Live Tiles, we looked at a couple of other products out there, all great in their own aspects, but one of the key things that we were looking for is, number one, longevity in terms of the roadmap and the technology that's being utilized, which is where Valo clearly jumped out to us, because they were following the modern architecture. They were using the PMP architecture. They were using, the Azure Web Jobs for the provisioning. So it was all about them following the lock and step with the Microsoft, and actually, in some cases, actually working with Microsoft to enhance the current experience. Because I would say that since Valo's come out, a lot of the PMP templates that have come out from Microsoft have been quite Valo-like, if you could say so, Ilya.
Yep, I hear you.
So, so that was kind of one of the key things that we looked at. We looked at that, and we looked at the longevity. But then, from an end user standpoint, the pure power and ease in creating content and being able to navigate and utilize the components of the Valo website allows it to stand leagues and bounds in comparison to its competitors.
Yeah, and from our perspective, we had looked at solutions that are that really highlight time to value. Something that could get up and running and have that professional look and easeability right away, and also being encompassing a lot of the things that people are looking for in the way of utilizing the platform. And more importantly, since we're such a large organization, looking for a solution that is going to encompass a lot of what we do, right? Which is a lot of on-premise work, a lot of cloud work, and a lot of both with different sizes of companies, which is great. Again, we're in a super unique experience right here with Microsoft Teams, and Valo is the only solution that I've seen that provides the full governance for Teams, and allowing to go a lot farther in that governance experience for IT to manage and provide a structure and visibility to team sites across the organization.
Thank you. Thank you. There was a question regarding Valo Teams integration. And Oliver already answered that. Regarding the teamwork, what Dan and Roger there showed you, that's already available. Valo for Teams, an integration where you can, for example, see some of the hubs like News Hub, Search Hub inside Valo. That's currently in progress, but it doesn't stop you actually doing it already today, because you can put that into any Teams tab. So any team site you have, you can add that in as a tab, as a SharePoint page, and say that I would like to show, for example, Valo Search Hub page, and then it will be available immediately for you. But our official Valo for Teams release will be also including tons of more features, which are not only about showing the basic content, but being able to manage content which is going to be shown, and more regarding that in the H2 timeframe. So very soon. Anything else from the participants, or then last comments, Roger or Dan, from you guys? Thank you. This was really good.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we appreciate sharing some information and a thought process and giving back to the community. So thank you very much for having us participate.
Yes, thank you guys. It was quite enjoyable talking about a product that's an easy sell. It's a no-brainer in terms of the use, and besides from that, just the pure attractiveness of it. To me, one of the key things again is user adoption has to be driven from the remote perspective, and with users all being remote, having a nice interface is definitely a plus. So thank you guys, it was a pleasure.
Fantastic. And we'll have our own lad talk about automating processing in your intelligent intranet next in about 15 minutes. So see you back soon.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
It was great. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Oliver.